Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice. I have an amazing guest lined up today. I might be getting hypnotized throughout this episode. I don't know. We'll see where this episode goes and what we end up talking about. The topic is power, joy, and profits. Who doesn't love all of those things, first and foremost? Before we dive in, though, I want to welcome Bridget Sobus. Welcome. A little bit before we dove in here, and you teach interesting concepts. We're going to dive into kind of the side of this show of mindset and how to unlock power, joy, and profits. That's what Bridget helps people do, but maybe through some unique strategies that you may have heard of, may not have heard of. But Bridget, give me kind of the overview of what you help your clients with.
So I own the Power and Joy Coaching Academy, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have been stuck, burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed, possibly resenting their own businesses, to reinvent their lives, their businesses, and mindset with power, joy, and profits.
So you work with all entrepreneurs then? Is that what I'm hearing?
I work with a lot of small business entrepreneurs. That's more my niche. And I work with a lot of women as well. So I work with them to release and let go of those negative thought patterns that run a lot of people's show. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not smart enough. I don't do enough. Or like negative emotions like guilt. A lot of people experience guilt because they don't think they're working enough, or even raising their prices. So I work with a lot of coaches or service providers that they don't even feel comfortable saying like, oh, that will be like $5,000 to work with me. Or I'm just throwing a number out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I joke because it's the reality for most people. Well, it's the reality for everybody. Let's just say that. Let's clear the air. Like at some point in our lives, we have all had negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, whatever you want to call it, whether you got past it or not. And you may still have it just at a higher level. Like for me, yeah, the money thing way back in the day was huge. It was like, oh, I can't charge that. Like there's no way I can say that price and have somebody pay it. So I think a lot of people struggle with this, and it's unfortunate, but it's fixable. And that's what you're here to teach us about. So before we fix it though, I'm curious, are there tendencies you find in people of how this shows up where you can just see, like even on the screen like this, you could see how someone's showing up before they even speak to you and how they're presenting themselves?
Yes, because how someone shows up, like their physiology and their physique and their body language, that shows a lot. And then it's also the words people use. So I teach a lot on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and it's really about the choice of words that we're using. So I'll even give you, and then that actually influences our conscious mind on what we're actually going after. So a lot of times when I ask somebody, so what do you want? What do you want in a relationship? And then all of a sudden they're spewing out all the things they don't want in a partner, those negative traits in somebody else. And guess what? They go from one relationship to the other, and they keep attracting the same thing. So our unconscious mind doesn't process an indirect negative. So if I say, don't think about your nose, don't think about a purple pig, don't think about a blue tree. Did you think about any of that stuff?
Are you hypnotizing? Am I being hypnotized right now?
You right now.
Oh, this is crazy. This is wild. But yes, obviously you think of those things and you can't help not to. So yeah, what's the fix?
So it's focusing on what you actually want. Like, I want a loving partner. I want a person that has confidence. So it's focusing on that. Unfortunately, most people's brains tend to focus on what they don't want, and then they're unconsciously attracting it over and over again. And then 95 to 97% people's behaviors are actually unconscious. That's a scientific fact.
I love science and I love facts because I rarely have those on this show. So that's really encouraging that you came with actual data. But okay,
I love stats, facts, and statistics.
did you know that 80% of all stats are made up? So I couldn't help myself.
Is that true?
No, it's a made up stat.
That's awesome.
No, I love having fun here because I think business should be fun. I think mindset should be fun. If you're not playing in business, you're doing business wrong. If you're not playing in life, you're doing life wrong. So we're here to have fun, also educate. But okay, so something that just came up though is you said the double negative, the brain can't understand it. So if you say, don't think of a purple pig, we're thinking of purple pigs. I mean, is there some leverage or science to even say like, I don't want $1 million? Like, could you kind of could you do both? Like, could you think of the positive and then also think of the negative of the positive?
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I actually have never had anyone say that to me. I don't want $1 million. And then all of a sudden $1 million shows up.
I mean, like if you did both, if you were like, I want $1 million and I don't want $1 million, do they cancel out, or does your brain hear, I want $1 million too?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I mean, I really do.
Unpack it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like I know when I'm coaching people, I listen for their language patterns and what they are saying and what they're not saying. And a lot of times people are unconsciously telling me what they're not even aware of. That's like the thing that's self-sabotaging them over and over and over again. So I hear in theory that you could say like, I don't want $1 million. Is that a way to attract it? But there's got to be lots of layers underneath that. Because if your unconscious mind isn't congruent with you attracting $1 million, it's still going to be like a sabotaging thing. You'll hit like that. There's like an invisible ceiling.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I don't know. Have you read the book, The Big Leap?
No, I haven't read it. I know what book it is though.
Highly, highly recommend it. I recommend it to every single student, every single client I have, because he talks about in that book that we have ceilings. So basically, let's just say you want to make $100,000 and your ceiling or your thermometer is only set to 80,000. So what happens is you will get to $100,000. And I don't know if you're listening to this, can you relate? Like you hit $100,000 and then next month you're right back down. It's like you go up, you get right back down, you get kicked right back down because you unconsciously don't believe that you're worthy of that. So doing that inner work gives you the ability to let whatever's go that's self-sabotaging you, and then having more conscious awareness. So then you get past the $100,000 mark, and then you sustain it and then grow. And then there's also a possibility like, okay, so now I want to make 500,000. Okay, so what is the next level? What's the next? Because we're like an onion, you know. I've lived a long life. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I've been here quite a while. I'm like, I've got layers. We have layers.
Shrek said it best. Ogres are like onions.
A layer. Pardon?
I said Shrek, the movie Shrek. He said ogres are like onions. People, same thing.
Oh, that's funny. I love that.
Yeah, but that's true. And actually, so when you were saying that, I think of pretty much all of my clients because this is human nature. Is we have the ceilings, like you said, and somebody pushes us, whether it's a coach, consultant, mentor, business partner, whatever. You get pushed to do something. You go out of your comfort zone, but someone else is there supporting you, which is why you have, the courage, if you will, to get there. Mm-hmm. As soon as you get it, you go back. To whatever degree you go back, it doesn't matter, but there's always that taking a step back. So I'll give you a perfect example. In our business architecture or business model that we install in our clients' companies, we focus on as little as humanly possible. We don't want people doing more. We firmly believe in the 80-20 rule and doing less to get more.
Yeah.
But what so many entrepreneurs are conditioned to believe is that more work equals more growth, more money, more profits, more business, whatever. So they think they have to do more in order to grow. And then we come in and we say, no, we're instead of 100 things, we're going to do 3.
Yeah.
And they push back so hard. So how do we get past that with people?
All right. May I give you a vulnerable example of myself?
Please, yeah.
Because this can help somebody understand about that possibility you just shared with doing less and making more. So I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years. And my first business was a salon. So I owned an award-winning salon in Chicago. I sold it during the pandemic. I was an independent consultant for another company. And then I was like thinking about, what do I want to do with my life? And I got certified in the NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. And that completely shifted my life. So fast forward, launched Power and Joy Coaching Academy. Like 6 months later, I had this huge quantum leap. And then now it's the beginning of 2022. And in 2021, I literally cut off my income that was from that other consulting company. So now I'm left to my own devices. I'm like, I have the business of my dreams. I'm so excited. You're all free and clear of this, but I was diagnosed with breast cancer for a second time. So I'm like now faced with, oh my gosh, I just launched a brand new company. I'm left to my own person, solopreneur over here. I have to generate my own revenue. And now I have to get surgery, chemo, radiation, and all the things. I literally had the most emotionally healthy year of my life. I worked 50% less than I normally would. And I did over 6 figures in revenue. So
mic drop.
I can do that. I feel like anybody could do that.
Well, I feel like, yeah, I mean, you had so many other things going on. How much of that was the need to survive because you had to produce your own income? Like, what was that the motivation? But also, I guess the back end of that question is, how'd you convince yourself to work less because you had to physically in order to make more? I'm curious what your mindset was through that process.
Well, I don't only teach the work, I do the work. Like I practice the work. So I'm always working on the hit, like noticing, oh, all right, what's getting in my way? Like, what's this thought? This isn't the truth. And how am I going to release it? So I'm a coach and I hire coaches to like work with me. I don't even relate to, did you use the word survive?
I may have used the word survive.
Yeah, I don't relate to that word because I was like, first and foremost, I love what I do for work. So for me, it was like, oh, I'm going to take care of my body and do believe me, I was not like thrilled to get surgery and chemo and radiation. That part sucked, if I can say that word on this. But like I navigated through it. And when I did work, I would do reach outs to people. I did my business building, created new clients. I did trainings. So for me, it was just like this flow of doing work I love and having like a balance so that I could take care of myself and make money so that I could live my life.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because what I heard was in the things that you did do while you were working, all of those, and I'm sure you did other things, but all of those were revenue producing activities. And what I see a lot in business owners, and so our clients are typically 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, they're either not clear on what those revenue producing activities are, or not the highest ones that they could be doing, or they fill their day with busy work because they just, that's more comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. So what's the shift between, let's assume that we can identify what they are, but we still choose to do the busy work instead. What causes that, and how do we fix it?
Okay, so usually when someone comes to you with a challenge, like I'm busy, being busy, like that's their problem. So when I'm working with somebody, they're coming to me with that's a surface level problem. Okay. And usually the problem is not the problem. It's like the problem is all the way down here, and it's like that root problem. So I will coach someone and I'll ask them, well, how is you being busy all the time and not whatever? How is that a problem for you? And then how is that a problem for you? And then I'll ask like other questions. And I usually get down to this root underlying belief that is usually like, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not capable, whatever that is. You're all free and clear of that, by the way. I'm not interested in installing things in people, but just to give a reference. So then if I'm working with somebody, then I would support clearing out whatever that is. So they're getting positive learnings and lessons so that they can now reframe the way they think positively and then really go after what they want or put other systems in place that support them to become less busy, if you will.
Yeah, interesting. I'm thinking of an analogy like when you're building something, or if you're gonna renovate your home. Like there's the demolition process, and then you have to clean up really good to make sure you got all of the debris, and only then can you rebuild. So it sounds like you're going in with the machine guns of limiting beliefs, and you're clearing everything out, and then but we have to make sure we got all of them right, and then and only then can we rebuild. So what does the rebuild process look like, and what can somebody do, even just from listening to this quick episode?
Yeah.
What are some things that we can start to do to create empowering beliefs, and empowering language that we can then use to our advantage to actually grow?
So this is a really great technique to do on a daily without doing like a deep dive of a breakthrough session with me. So what I tell my clients to do is, first and foremost, you want to get a piece of paper out. This is not anything you share with anybody. I actually recommend you burn it when you're done with it. So it's like literally getting out of your head, like vomiting all of the things that are not working, all the things you might hate, all the breakdowns that are occurring in your life. Like you just dump it out. Once you dump that out, now you start focusing on, okay, so what do I want? And then you write down, this is the part you could keep if you like. The other part, throw it away, like the burning ceremony or whatever. You write down, you get really connected to what you want, and you write that down. Like, I want whatever. I want love. I want profits. I want prosperity. After you're done with the wants, then the next level is, what are you grateful for and what do you love? Because when you're in gratitude and love, your frequency gets just more amazing, and you attract more amazingness. So then get present to, what do I love and what am I grateful for? Gratitude is such a beautiful practice forever, every day. Because I think even in someone's worst day ever, finding gratitude in one thing that happened for that day is like a game changer. So practice gratitude, and then it's going into inspired action. Because it's not just about magical thinking. It's about getting in inspired action that's going to back up, what do you want and what are you grateful and what do you love?
Yeah, and one of the most powerful things.
That's a really easy tool for someone to do every day, every single day.
Yeah, that's it. That probably takes less than 2 minutes. Am I right?
I mean, if you get in the habit, probably maybe the first time, 15, depending on how much stuff someone has to let go.
2 to 15-minute exercise.
15-minute exercise.
We'll give you some wiggle room on that. But that's really powerful. One of the things I heard on gratitude a number of years ago, another scientific fact. Look at you bringing out scientific facts for me today. It's impossible, like scientifically impossible, to be in gratitude and also experience any negative emotions like anger, fear at the same time. So yeah, I mean, that's super powerful. If you're anxious about something or stressed about something that's going on in your business, you look at your bank account and maybe the numbers are red, try some gratitude, and you won't be able to experience that emotion at the same time.
Yeah. And well, I just actually finished listening to Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Not know.
I highly recommend that book too. But he's like, because I'm like obsessed with talking about this now and being like, yes, we need to have more awareness around this, because too many times people are actually addicted to their negative emotions of stress, anxiety, worry. They're addicted and they're not even realizing it. So they're repeating these patterns over and over and over again. So then when you step into gratitude, you start breaking that pattern and that addiction.
Yeah, I'll show you my personal story real quick, because I think it's powerful, because so many entrepreneurs, if you're a solopreneur or you have a small team, it's especially important because you're more isolated than someone who has a bigger team and a more established company. But I found myself in this pattern a number of years ago, the negative self-talk, all the garbage going on in your head. And I did the work, I got past it, and now I try to always live in a state of joy and gratitude. Super, super simple. For me, prayer. Every prayer is a prayer of gratitude. That is the easiest way for me to stay in gratitude all day long. But fun fact of what this looks like in practice, yesterday morning, at the time of this recording, my house flooded at 2 a.m. I had a pipe burst. The first thing I said to my wife when we got downstairs, we're sleepy-eyed, rubbing our eyes, I was like, huh, we get to renovate our house for free. This is fantastic. I mean, a time where you could have immediate stress and anxiety, and my immediate reaction was gratitude because I practice. So I'll share that with you, the listener.
I love that. That's great.
So we're going to put all of the books that were mentioned in the show notes, assuming I remember. If they're not there, just please leave a comment, a very nice comment, and I will put them in the show notes. But also in the show notes is powerandjoycoachingacademy.com. And you have a nice little free ebook for us too. So can you tell us about that real quick, and then we'll wrap up this episode?
Yeah. So my ebook is the 3 biggest blocks to your coaching and consulting's exponential growth. So it really goes over like people-pleasing syndromes and how does that get in the way of growth and what you can do about it. It does a deep dive in like explaining like what are the benefits of like neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnosis to work with the unconscious mind. Because too many times, a lot of coaches and consultants, and I was one of them for years, you were coaching consciously. And yes, it's getting our clients results, but then something could re-trigger them and they snap right back like a rubber band. So when you're adding the unconscious mind work, you don't snap back like nearly as often. So that's what the book explains.
That's awesome. That is such a useful tool, because the 2 steps forward, 1 step back is exhausting. Just take the 2 steps forward. Do it the easy way. Go reach out to Bridget. Go to her website, download the ebook. Bridget, thank you so much for being here. This was a fantastic episode.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be here with you.
So I'll be honest, for you listening, watching, wherever you are, first and foremost, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to this ridiculous podcast so we can be in your ear holes 5 days a week and give you this disruptive business advice. But this interview did not go the way I thought it was going to go based on the topic planned. So when we stop recording, Bridget may or may not yell at me, and that's totally okay. But she is a wealth of knowledge and has so much to share. So maybe we'll be back for round 2. But Bridget, it was a pleasure having you. For you watching, listening, do subscribe. We will see you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.